Jeff, Plymouth Growth Partners, Michigan-based firm, been around for about 15 years or so, with a real focus in the Midwest. Talk about the model at the firm.
Yeah, so when we really started looking at committed capital, this is around 2007, 2008, 2009, right after the Great Recession. And we said, you know, there really wasn't investment capital going into technology in the Great Lakes region where we really could add value. And we thought the only way that we could add value is if we were within a 5 hours drive of wherever we were going. We didn't want to get into airplanes. If a company was down in Indianapolis and said, hey, we're about to hire a new CFO, we'd like you to come down and interview him, we could be there the next day. You know, and so that's really one of the main reasons why we're looking at the Great Lakes. The other thing was valuations were lower, and there's a mentality here where they don't need a $20 million round of capital to really be successful. They're really capital efficient here. So they could take in $2 or $3 million of capital and really make something work. And that's why we really believe in the Great Lakes region from a model perspective.
Yeah. Your firm has invested about $10 million into Indiana companies over the last number of years, Clear Object, the Kinney Group among those. Talk about the landscape. How would you characterize technology in Indiana?
Okay, so we raised a $60 million fund in 2014, which was bigger than we were used to. We really needed a new market. And we were looking at Cincinnati, we were looking at Indianapolis. We came down to Indianapolis, and what we found were a number of companies that had gotten to $1, $2, $3, or $4 million of revenue, and next to no outside capital, certainly no institutional capital. So we said that this is a great opportunity for us because there really isn't any institutional capital out here. And so we said, let's fill that gap. And so these are really good companies. They know the value of a dollar, they're very capital efficient, and they bootstrap their way to where they are now. They know how to succeed with very little in them, which is very different from a lot of the other markets in San Francisco and Boston. So we kind of said, this is a market for us because nobody else is here.
Yeah. As you look at Indianapolis in particular, but the state, there seems to be internally here a feeling, hey, there's a lot of momentum behind technology. Would you agree with that?
I would. We are actively monitoring about a dozen companies, mainly in Indianapolis, but they're in Bloomington as well. They're in West Lafayette. They're in South Bend. There's a company in Goshen, Indiana that we like quite a bit. We're looking at one in is it Columbia City, outside of Fort Wayne? Yeah. So there's a lot of different things going on here. And because of where we invest, we usually like to invest when they have about $3 to $8 million a year in revenue. We're kind of watching these ones that are at $2 million to see when they get to 2.5, 3 million in revenue, and then we can come in with a nice round of capital for them.